Okay, now, this was what we looked like when we started. Feet were kind of close together. We got you just before you swung. Right? And this angle, we kind of liked everything. Yeah. Right? So that looked pretty darn good. So what we had to do was we had to make a few changes. And what... that's not you. There we go. There you are here. So there's new and there's old, obviously. Okay, so we got the feet a lot wider, right? And we moved the ball a little bit more forward so the ball went under the logo, right? Okay. So that's good there. Obviously, when we went backwards, we never moved back behind the ball, and the hip rotated forward. It got you in a really kind of a twisted position. Right. Not very athletic looking. Obviously, we look a lot better there. You know, maybe the upper body tilted back a little bit more, but I'd rather see that than what I saw in the first picture there. Okay, so that's a huge difference, just taking it back. Let's go back to the angle, if we could, and just see the difference. I don't think we saw a difference in the takeaway, excuse me, in the setup, but we definitely saw a difference in how the golf club moved backwards.
Right.
And if I drew the line just before you swung, if I drew the diagonal line up the shaft of the club, in a perfect world, when you swing backwards, the club head should go up the top of the line on both angles. And when we get it twisted around behind it, when the club's parallel to the ground, it should be parallel to your target line. And obviously it's way underneath. And here it's a lot closer. It's not perfect, but it's a lot closer. We could live with that one. It's almost touching the line. So that's good. Okay?
That would be the shaft of the club.
That would be the shaft of the club would be parallel to the ground and parallel to the target line. Okay? Where we see it sticking way behind your... there's the club head. Should be over here. And now it's here, and you know, in a perfect world, it's there. But that's a pretty big change. But what I found interesting is we never even talked about that, other than I said I wanted it there, and when we decided to make you to get your feet wider and just shift back a little bit or load up, as you call it, just the way I describe it, the club automatically goes straighter backwards. Right? Okay. So that's huge right there. All right. So let's go back to this angle again. It was this one here. Oops. And then it was this one here. There we go. As we get to the top of the swing, just erase that stuff.
Is that a couple more cones, Kevin?
That's going to change that.
Because yeah. But the line shouldn't change. You just shift it, right? So that works out pretty good. So we get you to the top here. We get you to the top over here. And then we watch as we come forward. Our body is, our midsection is turning, but it's turning back around the back hip. Right? And this one is starting to turn over, moving over to the right, to the front hip, to the left hip. Holding that angle beautifully. And really good position.
Yeah. And in a perfect world, though, I would be turned, and that, like you said, my body was a bit too far back. But I would just be turning around a coil.
Your shoulders are turning around your spine,
right.
Okay, but you're moving from. You won't see this. You're going to hear this. You're going to your shoulders are going to turn around your spine,
right.
Your upper body, but you're going to go onto your back hip and turn, and then onto your front hip and turn. You see what I'm getting at? But it's all happening at once.
Right.
So you understand that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Remember I talked about that flashlight at the end of the golf club?
Yes.
And it made a perfect circle except there was a flat spot on the bottom? What created the flat spot was I went from one hip to the other hip.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I turned around a central point, it would be a perfect circle.
Right.
Okay, but my bottom of my circle shifted over a little bit, so
Right.
that's what made that little bit of a flat spot down there. Okay, and then of course, what I really liked was just the look of the finished position. How much more you went through the golf shot, and how much more athletic it looked. Okay, so we got a good change the picture up here.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's. This should be your drills. So I think the first drill we did was, I wrote it down as the rotation drill, where you turn behind it. The clubs, if you don't have a mirror or a video, you use the club and just put it behind the ball or put an object down, or you just put it over the back knee, or pretty close to the back knee. Is pretty good, right? So that's the rotation drill. And again, you're doing that one. I probably wouldn't do it at the restaurant, waiting in line. But you can do it whenever in the office. This is the backswing drill. I got you to set up with your palms facing each other, and then you took your right hand, put it under your left hand. There we go. And then we just simply rotated your shoulders back and made sure your arms stayed straight. And what will that help fix? That will help fix that club going underneath the line on the way backwards. Right? Okay. It'll also help you to feel more arms swinging back, turning back, and not those wrists cocking up at the end, which really got you in some trouble. And of course, the last drill is we would take the same thing we were doing with the rotation drill, and I take a big fluffy couch so you can go ahead and hit it a little bit, and it won't move. So you turn back behind it, and then you just get those arms that come down. Now, if you'll notice, where's your palm facing? You actually got your hands backwards there, but it's okay. You see how the right palm...
You're saying instead of, I should have this one here.
Yeah, no, underneath it. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so
Okay? But either way, it's the same thing. But you see the right palm?
It's cut back a bit.
But you see where it's hitting?
Yeah.
It's hitting the club face, excuse me, that would represent the club face. It's hitting the back of that chair, very square. And the right palm is going to represent
Club face.
the club face,
Yeah.
right? One other thing that I'll just mention, we didn't talk about the last thing we did, which probably should have put that on video. We call that the toe up drill. In other words, if you swing the club halfway back, waist high backwards, where the club shaft is parallel to the ground,
Yeah.
parallel to your target line, you swing through, the club shaft will be parallel to the ground, parallel to the target line, and the toe will be facing up. That will help to square that club up every time, as opposed to what you were doing was kind of holding on and trying to almost add loft. And when we got that on the full swing, it goes way to the right.
Yeah.
Okay, so number one, we met my number one goal, which was to change a picture.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first thing we do.
Yeah.
Now, by doing the drills, you're going to incorporate the motion, and the more that you do it, how many times? I don't know, 15, 20, 50,000 times before it gets incorporated into your golf swing.
Right.
10,000 times, too. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. Yeah. All right?
It's perfect.
Great job.
It's excellent stuff. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.